Hi, welcome back to Manohar Academy. In this lesson, we are going to talk about the main method, which is the entry point into our program. After that, we will discuss on the command line arguments also, which can be passed to the main method. We have written this main method in the first lesson when we introduced how to print hello world. But it took so many lessons to really understand or really to be in a position to understand the main method signature. Why we write it as public static void main, and inside the parenthesis we write string bracket bracket, that is nothing but array of strings, and we give some variable name. So we are going to discover all that in this class. This is going to be very interesting. So in the first lesson, when we printed hello world, we created a class. Then inside that we created this method and we remembered the method signature. Then we printed hello world. Then we compiled using the Java C compiler and we gave the file name. Once it is compiled without any errors, then we ran the program by calling the class name. We are using Java command, so it will launch the Java program and we have to give the class name. So hello world is the class name and we gave that. Okay, we are good. Now the program starts and it enters the main method. So when we are entering the main method, we are calling it. The only way to enter a method is by invoking that method or calling that method. So Java program has to call the main method from here. So if we are calling this main method outside this class, then obviously it has to be public. If it is private, then we can call it only inside this parenthesis. We can't call it outside the class. So it should be public. That is simple. And also when we are calling this main method, we don't have an object of this particular hello world class. We are calling the main method on the class itself. So it should be static. And it is void because it doesn't return any values. Return type is void, and main is the special method name, which is entry point. So that is understandable, the main. But also we should always give a argument, or it should be always the type of array of strings, because that is how the method signature will be defined, right? Previously we have seen easily pair, and we have seen two variations. Also we have seen three variations of the constructor, that is called constructor overloading and method overloading. So here it needs to know which main method needs to be called. Unless this main method has the array of arguments as a input parameter, it won't be called. So that is the reason we have to have this one. So now we know why the signature is like this. So it is public because it is need to be accessible outside the class. It is static because we are calling the main method on the class, not on object. It should be void because return type is void. The main is the special name, and args because we want to pass some command line arguments. Even whether we pass it or not, it is always going to receive an array of strings. So we will see those command line arguments in one or two slides. Now, whatever arguments we can pass to this main method, we can give them after the class name. So if you see here, I just changed the class a bit. I'm calling it greet instead of hello world. And inside the main method, whatever argument I pass here, I'm going to print the first element on that array of strings. So here you can see that. So after compiling the class, when I am calling that particular class, I am giving an input argument manohar. So it is going to print hi manohar. So here we can see that whatever arguments we pass, they are all space delimited. So for example, after the class name, if I give Manohar, it prints Manohar, hi Manohar. If I give Manohar Academy, even that case it is going to print Manohar only, because I am printing the first element in the array. This is going to be the first element. After the space, it is going to be the second element. So whatever I give, that is going to be the third element. If I want to consider two words separated by space as a single word or single argument, then I need to include that in double quotes. In this case, it is going to print hi Manohar Academy, because all this will be considered as one argument, one string argument. So you need to understand the difference between the second line and the third line. Why it is printing only Manohar in this case, why it is printing Manohar Academy in this particular case. So you should be able to understand that. So the explanation is very simple. They are delimited by the space. So here this is first argument, this is second argument, or 0th element and first element. So here everything is one element in that particular array that is passed to the main method. Okay, so here we can see that if I pass these parameters after the class name as input arguments, then welcome will be args0, to will be args1, and this whole word will be args2. Inside the main method, if we try to access args3 in this case, we are going to get an exception, array index out of bounds exception, and the program is going to terminate. So now one more thing is, whatever parameters we pass on the command line, they all will be passed as strings. Obviously, the main method is taking only one input argument, and that is array of strings. So even though we are giving an integer here, for the program inside the main method, it will be passed as a string. To convert the string into integer, float, double and boolean, we can use these static methods on the integer, float, double and boolean classes, parse respectively parse int, parse float, parse double and parse boolean, and whatever argument or args, it can be args0, it can be args1, whatever it is. If we want to convert that, we can pass it to these static methods. Okay, that will conclude our PowerPoint presentation. Let's look at some program examples. I am using the text editor here. So this is our well-known hello world program, public class hello world, public static void main. Then we are just simply printing the hello world. This is the second class, that is greet method. The very small change from the hello world class, not greet method, greet class. Okay, very small change from the hello world class. Inside the main method, I am printing hi followed by whatever argument I pass here. So we will see that. We already saw that in the PowerPoint. We are going to see that on the command line as well. So here we have factorial. We are going to pass some number, but it will be delivered or it will be passed to the main method as a string, and I am going to parse that as an integer. So let's go to command line and see all these things. Okay, first I already compiled them, so I am directly calling the class. So hello world programs, then I am going to call this greet, and I am going to pass manohar. So it will print manohar. So in this case also it is only going to print manohar, because manohar will be the first element in the array, academy will be the second element in the array. But if I want everything to be treated as single element in the array, then I have to give them as in double quotes. So all the text that is included in the double quotes, it is going to be single element in that array of strings. So this is very important to understand. The space is the delimiter, but if we want to include two strings with the space inside that, we have to include that in the double quotes. Now we are going to execute the factorial method, and I am going to pass an integer, but it will be delivered to the main method as a string, and it will be converted to integer using the parse int. That is all about this particular class. In this lesson, we learned about main method signature. Also, we have learned about the command line arguments that we can pass to the main method. Last but not least, if you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and subscribe. If you are benefited from this video, if you like this video, please make sure you like it and share it with your friends so that they can also watch, they can also learn. Once again, welcome back to Manohar Academy. We'll see you in the next lesson.